Hello, welcome to this third part of the series of videos on how to install Android Studio on Ubuntu Linux 16.04. This time we are going to prove that the installation is working, so we are going to run a sample app on Android Studio. For that we will follow the steps described on the developerandroid.com site. They have a first app. We will create a virtual device based on the Nexus 1 API 22, and we will use the AVD manager to do that, and we will see that there is a failure in launching the device if we do it straight from the graphical user interface. Because of a problem that we were mentioning before. It has a conflict with 32-bit libraries. So in order to solve that situation, we will go to the command line and enter a few commands that will launch the virtual device, and once the virtual device is running, then we can finish with the sample app. Okay, so this could be a little bit long, so I'm going to do a lot of pausing of the video. Okay, so to launch Android Studio after we close it, this is the Ubuntu Unity user interface. That's the reason why the icon hasn't been saved on the desktop. You can find it anywhere. So in order to launch it, we will have to first of all go to the command line. There you are. And this is the file that we want to launch. Great. And now if you can see here, the icon is showing on the taskbar, you can call it, or I don't know if they call it panel in Ubuntu. If you right click on this one and you say lock to launcher, then we won't have to be searching for it any longer. It would be, actually I think it's having a problem in there. Might be a problem or not. Well, in any case, you know how to launch it from the command line. Okay, now what we're going to do, there are some events here. After the first installation, there are some updates that could be performed. They are not critical for the sample that we're going to do, so because it's going to take too long, we are just going to bypass them at this point. So let's go here and start a new Android Studio project. Following the steps that are described. Let me show you here first. If you search in Google Android Studio My First App, you will have a couple of links in there. If you click on the second link, then you will come to this site, this web page, and this is the one that, if you keep on clicking on this one, all the specific steps and description of the steps are going to be here. This is the application that we're going to try to run. So let's call it My First App. This is not critical. They tell us that it should be just example.com. I've tested it in both ways and it still works the same. You can choose your project location, but because it's just a first sample that we're not going to run anymore, let's leave it like that. Click next. Accept the defaults. This is going to be for a very old API, but that's good enough. Good. Click next. Accept the empty activity. Don't change any of these defaults and say finish. Now this part might take a bit of time. Is creating a Gradle project for my first app. If it's taking too long, I might be able to pause the video. Okay, so all that process has finished. It took probably a couple of minutes, and this is the outcome. My first app has a few main activity in here, the Java main activity. Let's go ahead and do the creation. Let me show you how are we doing on the schedule. What we are going to do now is create the virtual device on AVD Manager. So AVD Manager is in here, that's the icon. Let's launch it, and we are going to say create virtual device. From all the options, we're going to select phone, Nexus 1, say next. Different API levels here. For our test, we're going to select API level 22, and unfortunately the libraries for API level 22 are not loaded yet, so that's another place where probably I will need to pause the video because this is going to take some time. Okay, so let's click on here, accept, say next, and starts downloading. See you when this is finished. Okay, so the downloading of API 22 has been finished, so we click in here. There you are. So now we can select it and say next, and the name is fine, so it's going to be called Nexus 1 API 22. Finish. Good. So under normal circumstances, we should be able to click in here and launch the AVD, the virtual device. If I click here, not even, oh, actually there is some action in here. It's saying that it's starting the AVD, but you don't see any output. And unfortunately, there is nothing that will give us a clue of what was going on. Oh, actually, look at this. In this particular machine, it has worked. I had another twin machine as this one, and it was failing. The difference between this one and the twin machine is that maybe I installed a utility called dpackage for 32-bit. That may have created a problem. In this case, in this particular machine, I was just installing the libraries by themselves instead of installing the whole 32-bit D package. In any case, this is working, this is good news, but if you find the problem that I encountered on the twin machine, I'll suggest you to follow these steps. If you encounter that the virtual device fails to launch, I'll show you anyway. Go into the command line, these options. Okay, sorry, I had to pause the video there. I had to regroup my thoughts because it came to a surprise that the AVD manager launch of the virtual device actually worked on this machine. I was going to show you that in case this does not work for you, these are the commands that had to be taken. So let's continue with that. So if we copy this and we go there to a terminal, and then we enter, actually let me show you, this is a very useful command here. It lists all the different virtual devices that we have created. In this case we have only one, and in order to launch them, all what you have to enter is just this actually. Okay, now this suffix was actually very useful in case you are not able to launch the AVD or the virtual device from the AVD manager. In our case it does work, so we don't need to use it. So let's just leave it at that. Say enter, and there you are, our emulator goes up. Okay, now that we have our emulator running, we can continue with our software, with our program. And we can come here to run the program. Clicking there, and it's going to detect that we have the Nexus 1 API 22. We accept it. It's going to install a few missing libraries in there, so we say install and continue. Hopefully this is not going to take too long, otherwise I can pause here. Okay, so the installation is finished, so we click finish here. Now Gradle build is running. it's installing APKs. And there you are, the output of the source code, the program going to our emulator. Very good. Hopefully all this part, this last part of the video was a little bit messy, just because I was caught by surprise that it actually worked. But I gave you an alternative in case it doesn't work for you. So I hope that this has been useful for you. Thank you very much.